Welcome back to Advice for Prince and Prince. Thank you for coming on next. Today we have an actor, producer, writer. You know him as Floyd, Mr. Palmer Williams Jr. Hey, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Sorry for the blackout there for a minute, but yeah, just hanging in there.
No,
Make it happen. Make it do what it do, even though I don't use that term, but yeah, I guess I'm making it do.
And so now you got credits. You got love delivery. You got Magias, Big Hit Boom. You got you got all those credits. How did that feel for you to be?
I mean, I don't really even look at it as credit, so to speak. I know there's somewhat of a body of work that I've been doing, and it's kind of funny because now I'm actually saying I have a body of work, which sounds so funny to me. It sounds like that's something that comes from somebody that is much older or much more accomplished. But to me, it signifies that I've had some work pretty consistently, but I'm always hungry for the next gig, and I don't think I'm 40% of where I'm going to be. So in other words, I don't think I've accomplished even half of what's, forthcoming.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
I'm looking forward to
it. Yeah, because of course, you haven't been doing this your whole life. So before you got into, entertainment, what were you doing?
Well, other than just being in school, the bug hit really early on as far as singing was concerned. I was a singer before I even thought about being an actor. And I was one of those little scary singers too, because it was at one point when I would sing at church, most of the church members were family members. So I was a little nervous. So I wouldn't even complete a song without tears running down my face because I was so nervous. Now you can't get me to shut up on stage. So it was one of those things where my mother kind of wanted me to, follow in her footsteps a little bit. She was a singer, songwriter, actor, produced shows, even talent shows, and was an actress, even in college, because she was even part of the school where I went to college, Knoxville College. She was in the Garnet Mask, which was the theater company there within the school. And she asked me one time to sing at a funeral. And I was so terrified because it was going to be right next to the casket. Needless to say that I know that the next funeral that I would be attending would be hers, because she passed not long after that. And so since then, I've decided that, when I do sing, I dedicate my energy and my efforts to my mother.
So, yeah.
So all that early stuff of just singing mostly. Then for my senior class, we all had to participate in an actual play. That was part of our final grade for our seniors. And that's when I got a little bit of a bug then. Went through college and got involved with a choir that was very theatrical. Then I got involved with a local theater company called the Carpetbag Theater. And that was my first professional experience. I actually received a check for acting. I was like, look at this, and from there went on A Good Man's Hard to Find and a host of other plays and singing background for a host of people. And now we're here.
So you started touring with like Michael Matthews and those kind of touring shows.
I'm going to tell you a funny story about the Michael Matthews, because as a matter of fact, Mike Matthews called me about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Because he's about to do a reprisal of some of his work, and was seeing if I wanted to be a part of that. Mind you, when I just graduated from college, actually I hadn't even graduated yet, and I was trying to get involved with a Mike Matthews play when they came to Knoxville, Tennessee. I just thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. And so I was trying to get in that production, but I hadn't graduated from college, but I was ready to leave college and tour with Wicked Ways.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm ready to go, because this is just all I want to do. because a good buddy of mine that had been in college with me, and he went on to do Wicked Ways, Lauren Dean Harper. And he's the one who actually got me to audition for Good Man's Hard to Find back in the day. And the rest, as they say, is history. So I wanted to be in one of Mike Matthews' plays and never got a chance to meet him. I think his company manager's name was Marvy or something like that. And she, and I think T Money was around too. And after, seeing that production, I was just like, man, that's what I want to do. And needless to say that I know that eventually I would, because I auditioned, but I just never got a call back.
Really?
Yeah, I auditioned for Marvy.
That's funny. Wow. So
You have to forgive me for eating with you. You know, me and you, when we talk, I'm real comfortable. So I know this is an interview.
they good.
I'm eating genuine imitation crab.
Genuine. So real good crab.
All I know, I don't know what meat this is, but it came from the sea, I hope.
The best crab.
This might be some, maybe some freshwater bass that they just colored. I don't know.
The best tilapia you could find.
As long as it's not tilapia. I have to put a torch to it, see if it melts, because it ain't nothing but plastic.
Well, that would be horrible.
So they told black people that tilapia was the fish that Jesus took, fed the masses. You know what I'm saying? At the world's first fish fry. So everybody think that was tilapia.
No, I mean he had 2,000 people to feed, so no.
So he had two pieces of tilapia. He had two tilapia. Come on now.
Yep.
Hey, let me ask you this: when the last time you heard somebody say, "You know what? Let's go fishing for some tilapia"? You ain't gonna hear.
You don't.
I don't know what that natural habitat is.
No, nowhere.
Some giant fish tank.
Oh God. See, you are so funny. How do you figure out that you were a comedian? Like, how did that come about?
How'd I figure out what now?
That you were a comedian. Like,
you know what? Other people have given me that title. I've never considered myself a comedian. I consider myself a comedic actor. But as far as being a comedian, that is a whole nother animal. And I've done stand-up. And I prepared a lot more for that than I have for a script, because that is a very, very intense thing. It's just you, a microphone, and a whole audience. And I've hosted a bunch of things, I've done jokes and stuff like that, but to just come on as just a straight comedian, that's a gift. I've been able to do it, but the nerves behind that, it's amazing. There are people that do it in and out, and plus I've never written a routine. So I've only told a few jokes that I knew or that I created, or I would feed off of the audience. And sometimes people will give you material when they act stupid.
yeah.
Want to heckle you.
Yeah.
I've even been at the comedy store in LA back in 1992, 93, something like that. And when I was there, it was like, this is scary. I had to do 3 minutes. Felt like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I did well, and I had enough material to make it to the blue light, which, when the blue light comes on, it means you got to get off. That was it. I told this old stupid joke. Somebody heckled me. I say, oh, shut up, sitting over there. Your mama's so old that she had a wooden pager and it went off like this. And I was knocking on some wood on the stage. I was like, nah, this is 1992, okay? So, yeah.
Funny.
That was my response for a heckle.
And then, you did a whole DVD, a DVD, right?
Yeah. Oh, the one where I did the stand-up and the skits and everything.
Yeah. That's because I was on, I forgot the website, but I was on there trying to.
It was called Calling Card. It's called Calling Card.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been jotting down some more ideas for a calling card too.
You should do that.
Yeah, because I'm gonna try to create a series.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Now, of course, people know you because you got with Tyler. How do you get with Tyler? Like, how did he find you?
Well, I actually was involved in church, believe it or not. I was at church, and I actually had this thing where I had to pretend to be Jesus, and I had to do a liturgical dance. And I was dancing with this young lady, and she was representative of someone that looked to, God the Father or in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically, she was with me all along the way, and then somehow she strayed by all the distractions of the world. Then eventually got to a point where she came back. You know, my wife sometimes references boomerang effect. It all comes back to Jesus. So basically, she had gone through all these trials and tribulations in this dance production, and all of a sudden, she gets back to Jesus, and all of the demons flee. So it was a real powerful piece. And Tyler Perry was there that day. He had somebody to call my phone because somebody from the church had my number. That ironically, I just hosted her son's graduation party. And then after doing that, we ended up having an audition the next day. They called me and said, you have an audition at 11 or at 1, which one you want? And so I picked one at 11. At 10:15, I was already in the parking lot crying, snotting, and praying, studying my lines and saying, Lord, if you make me a good steward over this man's stuff, I know you can make me Lord over my own.
Mm-hmm.
And went in, 15-minute audition turned in almost an hour and a half. And later that night, they called me and said that we want you for House of Pain. 6 days later, I was shooting.
Wow.
I was only supposed to be on 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 episodes has turned into a small career with Tyler Perry that lasted so far for about 11 years.
Mm-hmm. So you started touring. So you did the marriage counselor, and then you did Laugh to Keep From Crying, which that's where me and you met. So me and you met on that show. I can't.
How old were you then? About
I was
16?
no, I was like 14, I think.
Yeah, because you ain't even had this facial hair that you got now.
No. Yeah.
You had a little bit of a little bit of like peach fuzz like type of thing going on.
You know what? Remember, I got that picture I sent you a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna put it in.
Yeah. You still got the same mustache almost. It's a little thicker now.
Yeah, it's not growing. Even though I did buy some.
What's all this?
Well, I'm trying to grow a beard.
Did you shave? And because that's the quickest way to grow a beard. If you shave, your face gonna look like mine.
No, I did because I had to do a audition back in like September, and so they told me to cut off all my facial hair. And so I did. Of course, I didn't get the role. I was mad, like, really, I did all that just not to get the role, but it happened.
Bro,
Yeah.
believe me, at least you had the opportunity to audition, and also a lot of times, even when you don't get the role, a lot of times you're actually at least on the radar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And because you're gifted in other areas, and there's few and far between that have the wherewithal to do what you do and to have the tenacity and the strength. That's why I'm going to be forever a friend, because I admire your courage, and I admire the way you just go and keep going, and being a playwright, having your own productions and all that kind of stuff, and being in your own productions. And because that's the thing that I try to follow, that it's kind of a mantra for me as well, that if you don't get a gig, you create a gig.
Yeah.
No. So, oh, you ain't gonna hire me? Okay, damn that. I'll write my own play.
That's what I said. I wasn't getting in the road, so I created my own company, and
Right.
here we are.
Here we are.
So
Okay.
like I know like I do love that I do love that neighborhood was so cool. Like how was that for you? And going into like your own well you've been doing your own production for over 20 years, but you had a bigger name after Love That Neighborhood. So how was that?
Well, definitely, House of Pain was pivotal in making Floyd a household name, so to speak. And in that, I think that growing off of that and developing that character, and then with the marriage counselor, almost synonymous, timing with that, it just made for almost the appearance of an overnight sensation. When it comes to a national audience, yes. I've been doing this business for quite some time before that, but never at that level. And I feel like I also was right in a pivotal place where when Tyler Perry's brand got meteoric as far as, the stature or the level in which where he was going from there. It just basically skyrocketed, and I was there for a large portion of that growth, starting with like arenas, like when Medea's Big Happy Family, being on that production, and we're playing in places where Mr. Perry could fly his drone inside of the venue. How big it was. So being a part of that history of the Tyler Perry brand was pretty huge. And when you got an arena with 20,000, 30,000 people watching you, and they're cheering for you when you enter the stage, is better than any CBD oil or anything else. When it's a truly organic and life-altering type of thing, and you have to be able to be in a place where you can handle something like that mentally, and bounce back from that, and then continue on and continue being a creative like you and I both are.
It's like, cause I watched a show. I forget which it was, but when you when you come in and the audience just went crazy for you.
Yeah, that was interesting because it wasn't expected. It wasn't like I was expecting that to happen. But when it first happened, it was like, whoa.
They went nuts.
Yeah, because and then it was one particular city that it got so loud that I had to start yelling my lines. Yeah, it was interesting because you have to wait. There's this thing, and you know about it, called topping the audience. So I had to top the audience. I got a microphone. There's 30,000 people in the audience. So one person with a microphone and 30,000 people, that's a lot of yelling.
Yeah. Wow.
But I appreciate, the opportunity and the fact that, Tyler allowed me to be in one of his productions that was probably the catalyst for the rest of my career.
That is crazy. Okay, so look, we're going to come back on part 2, and we're going to talk about his new show, For the Love Of, which is coming very, very soon. So click on part 2, like right now. All right, bye.
passion, romance, sex, sin, pain, and death. Love unexpected. When you think you know your partner, think again.